Well, hello and welcome to 700 Club Israel. The story of the Holy Land is one of conflict, of empires, invasions, and a clash of civilizations waged over the course of thousands of years, and it continues to this day. A new book from best-selling author Barry Strauss takes us back to the time when Jews fought against the world's greatest power, and their rebellion changed the world forever.
Decades before Christ, the Roman Empire conquered the Holy Land. For Jews, the land given to them by God was in the hands of invaders and fueled hopes of divine intervention against imperial rule. In the new book, Jews vs. Rome, historian Barry Strauss offers an expert look at the events leading up to and following the crucifixion.
Well, Barry Strauss joins us now via Zoom, and welcome to the program. Dr. Strauss, I've just got to lead with this. I think your book is a masterwork. I'm a student of history. I thought I knew this time period, and you've shown me some new insights that I had never heard before. And so thank you for the book. And again, I think it's a masterwork.
Thank you. Very kind.
Take us back to the time before Christ. You write that the 60 years beforehand was the most dramatic in the annals of the Jewish people. Why was it so pivotal?
It was so pivotal because the hard-won freedom that the Jewish people had won under the Maccabees to have their first independent state in centuries was suddenly lost, and they had to decide how they would respond to this conquest by the world's mightiest empire, the Romans. And the decisions that they made really set their course for the next 2 centuries and would lead to spectacular, dramatic, violent changes and question the very future of the Jewish people.
How did the Roman invasion, the Roman conquest, how did it really fuel the change in Judaism? And how is that lasting even to this day?
Well, for one thing, it increased the apocalyptic and messianic strain in Judaism. More and more Jews thought that the end of days was near, and that the conquest by what they thought of as an evil empire would be sure to lead to divine intervention and for the great change to come. So I think that was enormously influential on the future of Judaism and of course, for the origins of Christianity.
Well, I've read the writings of the Essenes. It seems like the entire generation was anticipating the coming of the Messiah. Even the very disciples of Jesus were anticipating some kind of political change, that he would overthrow the Romans. Was that just prevailing throughout the culture?
It was a very strong trend. I mean, certainly Jews were divided, and there were those who believed that you had to work with the Romans and accept the reality of the Roman Empire. And there were others who were, I would say, more interested in geostrategy and thought there were ways to defeat the Romans through, for instance, alliance with the Parthians, the ancient Iranian Empire. That being said, the very strong strain of messianic thought and apocalyptic thought in Judaism at this period.
Talk to me about the balance between the Parthians and the Romans. I wasn't aware of just how active that was during this entire time period, that, you know, sort of the tiny Jewish state, Judea, trying to balance between 2 great empires and playing one off against the other. Why was that ultimately unsuccessful?
Yeah, really great question. And I myself in my research was struck by how active a role the Parthians played, or how important the Parthian card was both in the Jewish mind and in the Roman mind. And the rebels worked very hard to try to get the Parthians to intervene on their behalf. It was ultimately unsuccessful because empires are empires, and they will do what's in their interests rather than the interests of the small states that try to get their support. Ultimately, the Parthians felt it was not in their interests to see an independent Jewish state And nor were they interested in upsetting the apple cart of their relations with the Romans, because the Parthians had scored some significant victories against the Romans. So ultimately, there was just a limit to what the Parthians would do on behalf of the Jews, as the Jews learned to their sadness, to their discomfort.
You know, we talk a lot about the destruction of the temple in AD 70, but I think a greater catastrophe was the one that happened under Hadrian, and one that, both of them linger to this day. But Hadrian literally trying to wipe Judea, Israel, the very mention of the Jewish people from the map and calling it Syria, Palestina. Why is that? What was motivating that in his mind? And then how does that still reverberate today?
Yeah, great question. I think that Hadrian was very concerned about the Parthians. You know, just before Hadrian came on the throne, his predecessor Trajan tried to conquer the Parthian Empire. He conquered Mesopotamia, Iraq, that is, all the way down to the Persian Gulf, and then was driven out by a series of insurgencies there, as well as a rebellion in the rear in Egypt, Libya, and Cyprus. And in both cases, the Jewish people played a major part in those rebellions, those revolts against the Romans, working with the Parthians. And Hadrian knew this. And so he decided he had to pull out of Parthia. The Romans were utterly defeated there. It was humiliating. But he couldn't do much about Parthia. But the one thing he could do was something about the Jewish people. And he decided that he was going to rebuild the ruins of Jerusalem as a pagan Roman city. And that was the impetus, the major impetus for the Bar Kokhba revolt, which was a very successful revolt for a while and totally challenged the Roman Empire. And so Hadrian, in his anger at what had happened, at the price Rome had to pay, decided he'd had enough. That was it. He was going to try to wipe Judea off the map.
Well, one of the fascinating things in the book, and one I didn't know, I thought the rise of rabbinical Judaism was sort of an enclave of refugees who found safety in Galilee. But you pointed out it was actually a negotiation with the Romans, and they actually got permission for it. How did that happen?
Well, I think that the rabbis very wisely understood what the most important thing was. And the most important thing was not physical resistance, but spiritual resistance, resilience. And the Romans really didn't understand this. They didn't understand how the Jews could survive without their temple. And so they thought, okay, these guys want to play ball with us. They don't seem very dangerous. They're just a bunch of teachers. We'll let them have their little center. Maybe that will diffuse the violent resistance against the Romans. They didn't understand the power of spiritual resistance. And I think it was very wise and strategic of the rabbis to take that position.
Well, let's take that. Do we understand the power of spiritual resistance into the modern day state of Israel? How is both that resiliency within Jewish culture, but I would also say there's a spiritual resilience in Muslim culture that's causing the current conflict. How does the lesson of history reflect in what's happening in Israel today?
Well, that's an excellent question, and I would agree with you that there is resilience on both sides. I don't think that on the one hand, I would say we should not underestimate the determination of the Jewish people to live in their homeland, and it is their historic homeland. On the other hand, yes, it's certainly true that there is a religious aspect to the Muslim opposition to the state of Israel. But I think that one lesson that perhaps the Palestinians can take from the period of ancient history is that there comes a point when violent physical resistance is not going to be effective, and that the way to survive as a people is spiritual resistance, spiritual resilience. So that is a lesson that I think that they could take from antiquity as well.
We could talk for a long time. They're telling me we're out of time. Again, I highly recommend your book, and I congratulate you on it. Anyone who wants to know the current state of affairs in the modern state of Israel, I would say you have to read your book. So thank you for it. It's a masterwork, and thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, sir. It was an honor.
Well, again, I'll endorse it. The Jews versus Rome, 2 centuries of rebellion against the world's mightiest empire. It absolutely shaped Judea. It absolutely shaped Israel. I think it absolutely shaped Christianity and absolutely shaped modern Judaism. So I encourage you to get it. It's available wherever books are sold. In ancient Israel, the Jewish people traveled to Jerusalem 3 times a year for temple sacrifice. For the first time in 2,000 years, the road they walked has been uncovered for all to see. CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell takes us there.
They call it the Biblical Superhighway, the pilgrim's path that led to the Jewish temple in ancient times.
The places and events and the peoples that make Jerusalem, Jerusalem. For Christians, for Jews, it all happened here in the city of David. This is where the beating heart of Jerusalem is. We're talking about the Pool of Siloam. We're talking about Mount Moriah, the Temple Mount. We're talking about the city of David. The pilgrimage road links them all together.
For Jews in ancient days, their pilgrimage began here at the Pool of Siloam. It's a mikveh or ritual bath. It's the size of 2 Olympic swimming pools. They would purify themselves here before going up to the Temple Mount to worship God.
The historian Josephus says that 2,000 years ago, on the pilgrimage festivals, there would have been more than 2 million people going up on pilgrimage. That's a lot of people who need to bathe.
The pool is also where Jesus healed the blind man, as recounted in the book of John. Its location was hidden by a road until 15 years ago, when a sewage leak led to excavations, the discovery of the pool, and much more.
The archaeologists, when they find the Pool of Siloam, so they understand if that's the pool, and they know where the temple stood on the Temple Mount some 2,000 years ago, the same Temple Mount as today.
Zev Orenstein with the City of David Foundation says archaeologists wondered how the pilgrims traveled from the pool to the Temple Mount.
So the archaeologists widened the excavation, and we are standing on the very answer to that question. We are standing atop the ancient pilgrimage road.
These are the stones that Jesus would have walked on his way up to the temple. And now the significance of the excavation of the pilgrimage road is that for the first time in 2,000 years, visitors will be able to walk all the way from the Pool of Siloam up to the Western Wall.
The word in the Bible, the Hebrew words, is aliyah l'regel, or ole regel. Now, what we understand that to mean is it's a spiritual ascent. You're going up to the temple, going to Jerusalem. It's a very holy place. But Chris, when you're in the place where the Bible happened, the words of the Bible come to life. Because as we're walking right now, and I'm sure you could feel it, we're walking uphill.
And it was more than that.
This would have been like Times Square. You would have had on both sides of the road, and keep in mind, the road is about 3, 4, 5 times wider than what we see over here. You would have had shops, stalls along both sides of the road. This is the center of Jerusalem from a spiritual perspective, from a communal perspective, also from a commerce perspective.
According to the Israel Antiquities Authority, the road took 10 years to build, from 20 to 30 AD, and was constructed by Pontius Pilate.
One of the major issues of Jerusalem is that it's a living city. All the layers, all the archaeological layers are built on top of one another, and the modern living quarters and everything is built on top of the archaeological layers.
Excavation manager Ari Levy says uncovering the road is a major engineering feat.
We have modern neighborhood just above our heads, and we don't want it to collapse. After each meter that we take out, each meter of soil, we enter an arch-like construction like this. This supports the entire weight of what we have above us.
Along the route, you can see many places where the road remains intact and others where it's destroyed, given its violent history.
We know that the Romans, they destroyed Jerusalem. And if you would find everything perfectly intact, well, it wouldn't seem like much of a destruction.
Among the discovered treasures are small coins minted during the Great Jewish Revolt, before the Romans destroyed the temple and Jerusalem in 70 AD. Scholars often wonder why the Jews made worthless coins instead of weapons. Orenstein has the answer.
Jews of Jerusalem understood that the Romans were likely going to destroy the city, but they also believed that one day in the future, their descendants would return and find these coins, and they would know what their ancestors lived and died for a free Jerusalem. And here we are nearly 2,000 years later, standing along the very same pilgrimage road here in the city of David, in Jerusalem, the capital of the Jewish state of Israel.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, the City of David, Jerusalem.
Well, I've had the great privilege of walking that road, and it's absolutely incredible to just see history right underneath your feet and realize that the descriptions of Jerusalem in the Bible are true, that you can go dig in the earth and find the reality of it. The excavation of the Pool of Siloam is ongoing, and that was the great mikveh of the Jews as they purified themselves, as they went up to the Temple Mount, and to find that pathway, the same pathway that Jesus would have taken, is absolutely incredible. So I encourage you, if you get a chance to go to Israel, go and walk on those steps, walk on that street, see it for yourself. It will change you. Natasha had nothing but the clothes on her back and the luggage in her hands. She moved to Israel with no money, and now she's helping hundreds of people who were once like her, and it's all because of you.
In the heart of Tel Aviv, CBN Israel has partnered with a congregation that is serving the community by providing shelter during the war and running a store for groceries, clothes, and essentials free of charge for people in need.
And I'm here with Natasha Majulga, and we're on the premises of the International Christian Fellowship. You have an organization here, and you said this was your dream.
16 years ago, we moved with the small kids, 4 luggage bags, nothing else, no money. We moved to build a church for young generation, especially here in Tel Aviv. The kids are growing fast. You need to change clothes, in need of everything.
Natasha's personal journey fuels her current passion for helping those in need.
We actually have a lady, she's 82 and her husband is in a wheelchair. And she said this is the only food she can get. It's here for free. It's why we always open and we have a nice music in the store. It smells good. We create the atmosphere of rest. People can come and just relax. We treat them with the coffee, with the tea, with some sweets. This is our mission, that the people in the crisis never felt that they value less, no matter how big the crisis in their life, that they're still precious in our eyes, in God's eyes. It was my crazy dream that I can come and do my shopping and pay zero money. Just experience that, and the people can experience who maybe have the same issue, the same situation.
This was your dream, and you've made it come true. What a selfless dream. It's amazing. I want to see your shop. I haven't seen it yet.
Let's go.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Before this war, we covered 650 families. For just the last week, we have 50 more families. So it's just growing and growing. Sometimes people come and we don't have enough, and it's always break our hearts. So thank you so much for CBN that for now we have enough to give people, and especially now when the people in the line 3 hours before we open the store. CBN actually provide us to bring people help in such a time as this. It's stressful enough already, and we see how people desperate for this. It really help us see sure that we can cover people, and they won't be struggle, and they won't be hungry or even more stressful that they have not enough for their families. So it's really a relief to us and a huge help.
And that huge help comes from you. If you're a donor to CBN Israel, thank you. It's because of you that wonderful outreach is happening right now, today, in Israel. We're doing so much more than that. We're helping people in the Gaza envelope. We're helping the kibbutzes that were destroyed on October 7th. We're helping them rebuild so that they can return and reestablish their communities. We're helping people throughout Israel. We're helping people make Aliyah, the immigrants that are coming in. There seems to be a renewed call for the Jews to return to Israel and come back to their homeland, and we're helping them do that. We also have a resilience center where we're providing counseling, where professors from Regent University who specialize in this, that they've been both professionally trained and have real-world experience in trauma counseling as a result of the Ukraine war with Russia. They were on the ground there, and now they're on the ground in Israel, and they're training first responders. We're working with the Israeli Trauma Coalition. All of these wonderful things are happening because people just like you cared enough to give. If that's you, if you want to become a monthly donor to CBN Israel, it's real simple. Pick up the phone and call us. Say 1-800-350-2230 is the number to call. Just say to the person who answers, I want to give to CBN Israel. I'd love to become a monthly partner. You can also go to the website, cbn.com/support Israel. You can also text to give. Just text Support Israel to 71777. And there, you will send you a link to a monthly giving page. Either way, do it. Let's stand with Israel. Let's be a blessing to Israel. And the promise of God to Abraham will come true for you. Those who bless you, I will bless. Isn't that wonderful to know that you can be assured that God is going to bless you because you bless the people of Israel? We do it on there's no religious test, whether you're Jewish or Christian or Islam or none of the above. If you're in need in Israel, CBN Israel is there for you. So be a part of it. 1-800-350-2230. Here's a word from Daniel. Praise the name of God forever and ever, for he has all wisdom and power.